Alright, haven't made a video in a while. Felt like this would be a pretty good one to make. I wanted to show that fencing on a farm or homestead doesn't need to be super expensive or perfect. I've seen people spend tens of thousands of dollars on fencing just for their animals to still end up on their neighbor's property. And this fence cost me very little, under $2,000 for a third of a mile of fence. And sure, it doesn't look fantastic, and sure, it's right along a muddy road, but it gets the job done. We just finished installing it recently, and I'll probably put a tensioner on that line, the electric line, to tighten it up here in the middle, because I have one on each end and another one in the middle about halfway up. And this is about 3/4 of the way from the electric fence charger to the back of the property back there. And we basically needed a perimeter fence, and there's 50 acres on the other side of this woods with pasture over there, a swamp down there, and pasture reaching all the way around back there. But we needed a back perimeter fence. We have the river on that side. We have a steep drop off, and we have barbless wire like this at the top bank of the river as a reminder. And the cows, usually the adults, respect this, and the horse respects this. And this is what we had originally when we just had a horse and donkeys and ponies to worry about. And it did a pretty good job. It's barbless wire, so it's like barbed wire but without the barbs. That stuff is a lot easier to work with than anything else, to be honest. So you can see where we had the barbless line up here, top line, this line. We came in and we put 4 lines of barbed wire at the bottom, 2, then an electric line, then a barbed wire line, and then a barbed wire between the 2. There's places that it broke and damaged from trees falling, and we replaced it with, another barbed wire line. But basically 6 lines with a hot line between 2 and 3. It holds in cows, goats, pigs, horses, donkeys. Holds everyone in. And it's a back perimeter fence that we have that we know the cows aren't going to escape, because that's the most valuable creatures that we have out here. Horse is easy to contain. The donkeys want to go wherever the horse is. But we can't have the pigs getting out. We can't have the cows getting out. And this actually holds goats. And our goats are escape artists. Some of them have horns, some of them don't have horns. They're all different sizes. We have a lot of mutt goats. Some of them were pets. They're escape artists. But no one goes through this fence. But basically, another point I wanted to make is you need a super powerful fence charger. You need 100 mile if you have a long stretch of wire to go. And you look up the ground rods that you need, and the ground rods, you got to double up the amount of feet that they say you need. And another thing I learned from doing research and talking to old timers is you don't just want copper ground rods. You want half your ground rods to be copper, the first half, and the second half of your ground rods need to be some type of galvanized steel. And you connect those all together. This system has 39 feet of ground rod, 3 ground rod. The first 3 ground rods are copper, 8-foot ones, and then the other remaining feet are galvanized steel poles that we had about 1.5 inch to 2 inch in diameter, where that we pushed in the ground as far as we could with the machine, and then wired those in after the copper ones. And that made a world of a difference. Double up your ground rods and oversize your fence charger like crazy. It's really important. And look, you don't need to overthink a fence. I love a curvy fence. It's very natural. and it has a hotline on it, so nothing can climb up the fence. Because any of the plant-wise, they start climbing on it, they get shocked, the plant dies at that point where it gets shocked. But yeah, maybe I'll share more of my fencing stuff later. But your fence doesn't need to cost $10,000. It really doesn't. You can make it work.